Everybody, I'm Becki Adams. Thank you for stopping by today. I am so excited to be here on the Scrapbook and Cards Today blog and YouTube channel for International Scrapbook Day. So my challenge for this project today was to create something, or to create a layout using stamps. To be honest, I am not a great stamper. I kind of struggle with it, but I was definitely up for the challenge. So I decided to use the Wonders collection for this project because of this beautiful heart stamp. I hope you can see that. It's kind of got a glare on it, but there's this gorgeous heart stamp, and I knew immediately when I saw it that I wanted to use that stamp. So I did a couple of fun things with this stamp set. So what I did was I went through my Distress oxides and found ones that coordinated with this collection. So here I have Worn Lipstick, Mustard Seed, Mowed Lawn, Broken China, and Seedless Preserves. And I'll put all that information in the blog post so you don't have to write it down quickly. It'll all be right there. And then what I did was I stamped this heart in each one of those colors just on a scrap of white cardstock. And then I took my paper piercer and I pierced a hole just along the outside line, just right on top of that, about 1/8 of an inch apart. So once I had that done, then I took some embroidery floss, and on Paige Evans' Instagram, one of her Wonders highlight bubble, she gave, when the collection came out, she gave a list of all of the flosses that matched the Wonders collection. So I grabbed the 5 flosses that matched, and I stitched around the edge of all 5 of the hearts. And I went with 5 because that's what fit across my 12 by 12 page the best. You know, there was no way that I could stamp, oh gosh, I think there's like 12 colors or something. I didn't have enough room for all of those hearts, so I went with these 5. And then I went through the 6 by 8 paper pad and found the colors that matched the closest. And I cut some strips that are the same width as the heart, and then I layered on top of them another pattern paper of the same color and stitched them on the page, on the paper. So I'm just going to start arranging these in kind of, I guess, in rainbow order, even though I don't have all the colors of the rainbow. And my background paper is just a piece of white cardstock that I cut down to 11.5 inches square, and then I adhered it to this navy cardstock and stitched around the perimeter. Okay, so now that I have all of my pieces in place, it's time to start sticking those things down. Okay, so I'm just going to space these evenly across the page. And then I'll just use some tape runner. And then I also have a little bit of double-sided tape that I used to tuck the threads behind. So I'll just take the backing off of that. And I'm placing these about 1/4 of an inch apart, maybe a little bit more. And I'm just kind of eyeballing it. I don't do a lot of measuring. My measuring has not been my forte. You can ask my husband. He will attest to that. So I'm just going to put these strips down, and then I'm going to continue choosing embellishments in these 5 colors. So if I were doing this layout just not off camera, I guess off camera is what I'm trying to say, I would have stitched all of these in place and not used very much adhesive. You will find that stitching is your cheapest and best adhesive. You'll never have to worry about anything falling apart. Down the road, if you are using your sewing machine and thread, or even hand stitching, and thread is really inexpensive, so you will always have, it's always very, very inexpensive. So then I'm going to take these hearts, and I have just a little bit of foam adhesive on the back, and I only put that little bit and tried to keep it down towards the bottom of the heart because I know that I have some embellishments that I want to add up at the top here. So we'll just put those into place, and I'm just making sure that they have, that there's no white gaps showing either here or here around the heart. We'll just put this last one into place, and I'm not pressing these down really hard right now because I might need to adjust them a little bit. So I wanted to talk about photo choice for just a second, because with this project I started with the stamps, and that's not always the way that it works, but since this was a project for a specific reason and a specific company, I started with the piece that I knew that I had to include. And from this point, then I have a couple of photos to choose from. So these are the 2 photos that I had in my pile that I knew I wanted to scrapbook. This one might be a little bit harder to see because it's glossy. But I have these 2 photos, and I laying them both on this project, I know immediately the one that I want to use, and it's this one. And the reason is, when I put this one down on the page, I love this photo. It's adorable. It's a great photo, but it has a lot of color in here, which kind of competes with what I've got going on up here. And I want something to contrast with that so that my photo is kind of pops off the page. So I'm going to set this photo aside, and we're going to use this photo. And this is a photo of my nieces, and they had been helping my parents outside, and they have silly, dirty faces. So when I print my photos, this is a good tip. I put a Post-it note on the back with the date. I don't write on the back of my photos because over time the ink can bleed through, and if you write with a pencil, it fades. So I always write with a Post-it note. And I think the photo is going to go about there. I might adjust it a little bit. And then the next thing I'm going to add is the title and journaling. So I chose the title Silly Smiles because it could have gone with either one of those photos. And I want to nestle my title right in there. And I can see that I need to move my photo down and to the left a little bit to make sure that there is room for my photos and journaling. I still need to adjust this a little bit more to the left. I'm going to pull these, a couple of these up just a little bit so that they're not overlapping my title. Okay, there we go. I'm just going to put my title in place. I have it on a little bit of wax paper so that I can do exactly what I just did and lay it down and mess with placement while it's on the wax paper, which is easy to move around, and then I put it in place. So I am using these are thickers from American Crafts, and they are brand new with they come with the Reaching Out collection from Jen Hadfield. And they are, I think, the perfect font, color, size. I'm really excited about these ones. I may have purchased a few packages of them to keep in my stash because I love, love, love letter stickers. And sometimes navy letter stickers are hard to find. So I'm going to keep these ones in my stash for sure. Okay. Now we've got my photo and title in place. And then the next thing I want to add is my journaling. And I have my journaling printed. I printed it just on my printer here at home. And I print it just on regular white copy paper. And then I cut the strips apart, not all of the way, so that I can mess with the placement. And then on the back, I add 1/8 of an inch double-sided tape. And then I cut each strip apart. Whoops. I cut each strip apart and use my T-square ruler to put everything in place. Okay, so now that I have my photo and title and journaling in place, and I've got my hearts in place, I am ready to add some embellishments. So I went through the ephemera packs and some of the stickers in the Wonders collection and pulled some embellishments that matched my color scheme. And so I wanted to start with some washi because it matches well with this yellow strip that I have. So I'm going to take just a strip of that and put it next to that. And then I also have this darker teal. And I'm going to put that right in the middle of this strip that I stitched on top. And then I'll start with the yellow section. And I didn't go with a ton of embellishments, but I wanted a few things to kind of liven things up at the top of the page. So I have some pop dots here that I am going to adhere a lot of it with. This die cut says keep on the sunny side. And I am using 3D foam dots from, I guess, 3D foam squares, they're not dots, from Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L. And I'm just going to tuck that little tulip flower behind the heart. And that is why I made sure and did not put adhesive all the way around my hearts, because I knew that I wanted to tuck things in and around. For each section, each colored section, I fussy cut a little butterfly, and I will have a butterfly in each of these sections. So I'll just add it with a little foam square right in the center so that the wings still have a little bit of dimension there. So let's move over and do this little pink section. So I have this little banner. It's a gold foiled banner. It says "So Cute." Comes in a sticker pack in the Wonders collection. And then there's also a die cut pack that has only flowers and leaves. And that's where the flowers that I chose for this layout came from. So I have my little pink butterfly here, and I'm going to add it up here. One thing that I'm going to watch for when I'm placing the butterflies and the embellishments is I don't want them all to be lined up straight across or all bunched down by the hearts. So we'll vary where we put our embellishments. So there's our little green butterfly. And then I have this cute little green memories sticker. And I'm going to use some foam squares here because I want this to, pop off the page a little bit. So there's our green section complete. We'll move on to our blue section. And I found this little bunch of blue flowers, and I thought that would be so cute coming out of the top of that, at the top of the heart. So we'll put our blue butterfly here, just watching so there's some motion here in the butterflies. And then I cut this little flower in half because I wanted to tuck it right there underneath the side of that heart. And then we are just down to our last section, which is purple. And we'll tuck, I've already got pop dots on these. And we're going to tuck that one right there. And then I wanted to tuck one flower down to kind of fill this space out a little bit. And then in this section, because it's so large, I do have 2 butterflies to place here. And with that, I'm going to call this one finished. So thank you so much for stopping by, and thank you to Scrapbook and Cards Today for having me for International Scrapbook Day. If you haven't already done so, make sure that you subscribe to the Scrapbook and Cards Today YouTube channel. So thank you again for stopping by, and I'll see you again soon.